In this lesson, we're discussing presidential accountability. Specifically, we want to focus on impeachment and executive privileges and immunities. Or in other words, right, how do we hold the president of the United States accountable for his actions, right? We know that Article 2 vests a lot of power in one individual person. So how do we ensure, right, that that person who is acting as president of the United States is not abusing their power, or at least if they do abuse their power, right, how do we ensure that there's consequences for those actions? That's really what Article 2, Section 4 impeachment is all about. And then beyond that though, okay, if we're going to hold the President of the United States and other executive officers accountable, and they're going to be defendants in criminal proceedings and civil proceedings, are there any special considerations we need to make for these officers, right? And this is what executive privilege and executive immunity is all about. So we'll get there in a minute, but we can start with impeachment under Article 2, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution. So if we all flip open our pocketbook constitutions and we go to Article 2, Section 4, we'll see that the Constitution states that the President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors, right? So there's some key terms here we need to define, right? Who under Article 2, Section 4 is subject to impeachment, and for what causes can you be impeached, right? So who is subject to impeachment? Well, we know who the President of the United States is. We know who the Vice President of the United States is. But what about this third category right here? All civil officers of the United States. Who does this include? Well, generally, civil officers of the United States for Article 2, Section 4 purposes is going to include high-ranking presidential appointees, right? If you remember from our last lesson, we said that the president has the power to appoint and remove officers of the United States. Well, all of those high-ranking presidential appointees are generally going to be subject to Article 2, Section 4 impeachment, right? The main person, though, that we want to think about here is going to be federal judges, right? Federal judges are subject to Article 2, Section 4 impeachment, right? They're going to be considered a civil officer of the United States under Article 2, Section 4, but also any high-ranking presidential appointees. So the president's cabinet members, right? All of those cabinet members are going to be impeachable under Article 2, Section 4. But the big one we really want to look out for is federal judges, right? So the President of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, federal judges, and any other high-ranking presidential appointee would be subject to Article 2, Section 4 impeachment. But what does a person have to do to actually be impeached and convicted of impeachment, right? Well, we know we have treason, bribery laid out here in the Constitution, but it also states other high crimes and misdemeanors. What would other high crimes and misdemeanors look like? Well, this is almost at the sole discretion, right? This is interpretable by Congress, right? Congress really has a lot of discretion to decide what other high crimes and misdemeanors really means, right? We've had federal judges convicted and removed from office because they were intoxicated on the bench, right? That would be considered other high crimes and misdemeanors for purposes of Article 2, Section 4 impeachment. But it can go the whole gambit, right? You could have, usually, right, Article 2, Section 4, it's going to involve some sort of abuse of power, right? It's going to involve some sort of, you know, outside the scope of the power of that officer. If it's the President of the United States, right, we're thinking about, you know, Bill Clinton, who was impeached, right, where he's actually committed perjury, right? He's lying under oath, right? Well, that's an actual criminal offense, right? That's going to make him subject to impeachment. Important to recognize, though, that impeachment doesn't have to be an indictable criminal offense, right? There's some case law on this. And by the way, impeachment is one of these things where there's not just a ton of case law because it doesn't happen very often. In the history of the United States, only about 60 or so times have impeachment proceedings been initiated by Congress, and out of all of those times, only 20 officers have actually been impeached by Congress, and of those 20, only 8 were actually convicted and removed from office, and all 8 were federal judges, right? We've never had a president of the United States actually impeached and convicted and removed, right? We've had 3 presidents impeached, being Andrew Johnson, Bill Clinton, and now Donald Trump, but only federal judges have actually been convicted and removed. It is important to recognize that Nixon, right, probably would have been impeached and removed, but he resigned before the impeachment proceedings ended, right, or were able to come to a conclusion. So again though, so since impeachment isn't something that happens all the time, it's pretty rare, there's not a ton of case law, but the case law does suggest that actually to be impeached, the offense that the officer has committed doesn't necessarily have to be an indictable criminal offense, right? It could be any kind of abuse of power, right? Treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. And again, this has ranged from federal judges showing up to work intoxicated, that's an impeachable offense under Article 2, Section 4, to lying under oath with Bill Clinton, to abuse of power with Donald Trump, and everything in between, right? So Congress ultimately has a lot of discretion here in determining what is actually an action that's going to constitute treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Congress is going to be given a lot of deference in making this interpretation, right? So the way the process itself actually works though, if Congress decides, hey, we want to impeach this officer and try to get them convicted and removed, what's the process, right? Well, the House of Representatives may impeach an officer by a majority vote, right? So the House gets together, they need a majority vote to actually impeach an officer, right? Once the House has impeached by a majority vote, then it's going to go to trial, right? That officer is going to get a trial conducted by the Senate. So then the Senate tries the officer. Once that trial concludes, a 2/3 vote is needed from Senate to actually convict the officer of impeachment and remove them from office, right? So it's a 2-step process. Number 1, you need a majority vote from the House of Representatives to actually impeach the officer, and then from there there's going to be a trial conducted by the Senate, and you're going to need a 2/3 vote from the Senate to actually convict and remove this individual from office, right? Which we know is pretty hard to get, right? It's easier to get a majority of Congress than it's going to be to get 2/3 of the Senate. So just because a person has been impeached doesn't mean they're actually going to be convicted and removed from office, right? And so we'll see how it plays out. Ironically, at the time I record this video, right, Donald Trump has been impeached by a majority vote by the House of Representatives. So now it's going to go to trial. We'll see if there's a 2/3 vote from Senate to actually convict him of the charges and remove him from office. My guess is probably not, right? This is hard to get 2/3 vote from Senate, but we will see how that plays out, right? But that's impeachment under Article 2, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution, right? So from here we can talk about executive privilege, right? Privilege is all about whether the President of the United States can be compelled to disclose information he deems confidential and contrary to public interests, right? So anytime we're thinking about executive privilege and executive immunity, we have to think about President Nixon, right? And everyone's probably familiar with the Watergate scandal and President Nixon, right? So if you're not President Nixon, essentially among a litany of other abuses of power and corruption, sends in or conspires with a group of individuals, has this group go into the DNC headquarters at Watergate and have them try to get documents to see what his political opponent's strategy is going to be, right? But there was all kinds of stuff Nixon was doing. He's using, of course he's paying these guys with misappropriated funds, and he's bugging things that he shouldn't be bugging, right? Nixon it's a whole litany of corruption, right? And he just gets caught basically red-handed with all of this, right? So eventually, right, because of all these actions, illicit activities Nixon was involved in, he's charged with crimes and he's sued by all kinds of different people. And we get this whole line of cases that go to the Supreme Court that deal with privilege and immunity. Privilege as to whether he can actually be compelled. Can the criminal prosecutor, right, the special prosecutor that's charging Nixon with these crimes, compel Nixon as president of the United States to disclose information that Nixon deems confidential, right? And the answer to this is thank you so much for watching this video preview of our Legal Education Accelerator Program, or LEAP for short. If you would like to see the conclusion of this video and gain full access to our entire 1L and 2L video library, integrated outlines, streamable audio versions, additional practice exams with explanations, and much more, we invite you to head over to our website and join the thousands of law students who have already enrolled. To get started with your no-risk free trial today, simply click the link in the description box below or visit www.studicata.com/leap.
Hi everyone, my name is Serena and I'm currently a law student at South Texas College of Law, Houston.
Hi everybody, my name is Shiva and I'm currently a law student at Southwestern.
Hi everyone, my name is Michelle and I am a first year student at South Texas College of Law, Houston. I used the Studicata study video series last semester to help me prepare mostly for contracts, and I actually made an A+ in contracts last semester, which I greatly dedicate to the Studicata videos.
By using Studicata to help me prepare for my final exam, I was able to score the highest grade out of my class on the final and even have my essay distributed as the model answer. Not to mention I had done quite poorly on the midterm and was struggling throughout the whole course of the semester, understanding the material and keeping up with lectures.
Because of the Studicata video lectures, I was able to go into my exams with a feeling of confidence. I didn't have to worry about what the rules of law were or how I was going to organize my answer to an essay question.
I would absolutely recommend the Studicata series and their online course materials to anyone. I think that they are not like professor lectures that you might find online or other outside study materials that you may encounter. I think that the Studicata videos really focus on not only ensuring that you understand the material that you're going to encounter on your final, but they also help you to understand kind of the best method for test taking, and they really break down how to approach each problem and the best ways to tackle certain methods on testing, and I think that's really important, and I think it's really special. I don't see that anywhere else in any of the other online resources that I've found. So I would certainly recommend Studicata to anyone who is studying in law school right now. Good luck on your studying and you're going to do great.
I would definitely recommend Studicata to anybody watching this video. Give it a chance. I'm positive that you will love it, that you will get a lot out of it, and that you will be happy that you gave it a chance. I definitely am. I know I will be using Studicata in the future.
And I cannot thank Studicata enough for getting me through my first semester of law school. I will definitely continue to watch the Studicata video lectures throughout my law school career, and I highly recommend that any future or current law student do the same.